Perfect. Thank you so much, Sonia. You can go to the next slide. So thank you so much for the warm introduction and for having us today. Once again, giving us this great opportunity to be here. So good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us and welcome. My name is Nazanin and I'm the Assistant Branch Manager at RBC Meeting Place. So we work very closely with ACCES Employment, as just Sonia mentioned. So because we share the same vision and value and passion for our newcomer community, and we really, really value this partnership. So Ria and myself, we are both very excited to be here today. We're going to talk about the facts that you need to know about the basic of banking in Canada. I was a newcomer myself, and I went through so many challenges. And I know that, moving to a new country is a major life-changing event. So there's so much to do, so much to learn. And that's why we are here today to provide you some tips and advice to help you to get a better understanding of the Canadian banking system. We also have Ria Ragby, our banking advisor, on the line, and we're going to hear from her very shortly. So now I'm going to talk about what we have for you today. The next slide will be about our agenda. So we heard from Sonia already, and next we are going to have, I'm going to talk a little bit about, RBC value and purpose to get to know RBC as an organization. And then Ria going to introduce RBC Meeting Place, where we work. And next we're going to get into the main presentation. So I will be talking about the Canadian banking system basics, as well as a different way that you can bank with. And then Ria gonna share great tips and advice about the credit and how you can build a good credit habit, and also about how RBC can help. And at the end, of course, we're gonna get into your questions. So please feel free to enter your question in the chat box. All right, so let's get started. So on the next slide, so before we get to the main presentation, as I said, I want to cover a little bit about RBC's purpose, for those who are not familiar with. So our purpose is to helping clients and, helping clients thrive and communities prosper. And our vision is to be among the world's most trusted and successful financial institution. We have around, at RBC, we have around 80,000 employees, so we all are guided by one set of values. So first is client first, because we always earn the right to be our client's first choice. Second is collaboration. We've been as one RBC, we're all partners, and we work together as one RBC to make sure our clients and communities prosper. The other one is accountability. So we take our ownership for personal and collective high performance, and we're really proud to work for an organization that cares so deeply about newcomers and about our community. So the other one is diversity and inclusion, because this is really important for us. And I think that's why we are so successful, just like Canada, that is a very successful and very attractive country to live in because of the diversity of thought, experience, and people all around the world bring their own perspective, same as RBC, because we embrace our differences, we include our differences, and that's what makes us such a strong organization. And the last but not the least is integrity. So we hold ourselves to the highest standards to build trust. So that was just a little bit of RBC that I wanted to share with you. So now I would like to hand it over to Ria to introduce herself and talk a little bit about RBC Meeting Place.
Thank you so much, Naz. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this wonderful collaboration with RBC Meeting Place and ACCES Employment. I really enjoy this partnership with ACCES Employment and these webinars with Sonia, because we get to meet many clients right before they arrive in Canada, or even the ones that have just arrived in Canada, because we get to create awareness, especially when we work with organizations like ACCES Employment, to empower the newcomers with financial literacy events with our facts you need to know about banking today. And on my next slide, another reason why I enjoy RBC Meeting Place is because I get to work with wonderful folks like Jeff Price and Nazanin. It is a small team. However, we all embrace the RBC purpose and the value, and we share the same vision and passion of giving back to the newcomer community. And we do have an extensive support team spanning from different branches, different departments, regions, and again, all the employees share the same goal of wanting to give back to the community. Oh, Sonia, if you can just skip probably 2 slides ahead. And one more. Thank you. And we are so grateful and proud to have partners like ACCESS Employment, as I said, who is one of our key partners throughout this journey. Together, we can reach and have those meaningful connections to make a greater impact in our community. And on our next slide, since we opened our doors in early 2019, we were able to create awareness through our events and our community involvement. Here are just a few in-person ones that we've had in 2019. But on our next slide, and if you fast forward a little bit, in 2020, we've taken our reach digitally, just like today, where we host all our events via WebEx. And here we can still connect with our clients to provide any guidance and resources that they may need. So that's a bit about RBC Meeting Place. I'm so happy to be here and introduce you to our branch. And now we want to get started with our presentation. So I'll hand it back to Naz for that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ria. So as just Ria said, we both are advisor. So if you have any questions about your banking, so you always can contact with us. We're going to share our contact information at the end. All right, so let's get started. So actually, I want to start the presentation by asking you a question. So let's see how many of you can get the right answer. And here's a question. So what percentage of Canadians do you think were born outside Canada? So just take a guess if you don't know. You can enter your questions in the chat box. I mean, get the answer.
I think that's a great question. The reason why you're asking is because it's an impressive number, Naz. So I think that's a really great question.
70%. Wow, that's a pretty high number. Okay,
25%. Wow.
All right. So I see so many people just are saying 70%. That's pretty high number. Thank you, Yasmin. 30%. Nargis, 30%.
Good guess, Nargis. Good job.
Yay. Thank you so much. So now, Sonia, if you go to the next slide. So here's the answer, actually. So 1 out of every 5 Canadians is born outside Canada. So that's 20%. So yeah, so some of you are 25, this is close, but not 70. So 20%, but it still is a good number. Like that shows that we are a country of newcomers and we are so proud of it. So, and that's why RBC has put a great deal of thought and attention into making it easier for newcomers in Canada to build a successful life here. And on the next slide, so, for some of you, Canada may be a totally different country, with a different language and a culture that you may not be familiar with. And I have spoken with so many newcomers through my work, and I always enjoy hearing what surprised them the most, when they first arrive in the country. Sonia, can you go to the next slide, please? And so when I landed, the first thing that I was surprised with, probably same as many of you, was the weather, because I landed in February, and you can imagine, coming from a 4-season country in the middle of winter with minus 20 degrees. Oh my God. So that was a big surprise for me. So maybe Ria, you can share also. Let's see what surprised you the most when you just landed.
For sure. Well, opposite to you, I came in June of 2008, so it's been 13 years now. But prior to that, I had numerous visits to Canada, and I just fell in love with the country immediately when I came here. And I'm a foodie, so I was very, very impressed and happy with all the different foods, because if you read my bio, I am from Florida, and it's a very southern state. So it's not as diverse as Toronto, which I am so happy to be living in Toronto. And when I first landed and I saw the different places, I was just ecstatic. So it was more so the food and, of course, the weather as well. I like the different seasons, but I came in the summer, so I kind of eased into the winter, which is the opposite of you, Naz.
Exactly. So good for you. Thank you so much, Ria, for sharing. And, these are some of the favorite observations you may have. For me, before I came to Canada, I had never heard of the mortgage or seen so many cultures that Ria said, or try sushi or ice skating. So, but now I'm a sushi lover and I play ice skating. So, and on the next slide, or for example, Niagara Falls was another surprise, because even even like much bigger than what I thought. Like no matter where you came from, I'm sure that as a newcomer, you all went through lots of challenges. So you've experienced something new and unexpected. So like, understanding Canadian banking system and banking options. So that's why we're so happy to be here today to share some of the best advice about the Canadian banking system. So on the next slide, first I'm going to talk about the bank account. If you can, yes, perfect. So like there are few types of accounts. Like the basic one is a checking account. The checking account is meant for everyday use, and it's the first account that you should set up, and it's basically for your daily transactions, like paying bills, like for purchase or like purchase interactions, like issuing the check and much more. And a saving account is meant for money that you're not using day to day, as some saving accounts can also accumulate like a higher interest than a checking account. And we have like also different type of saving accounts. And also you have the option to open a US account. So the US account is meant to hold the US currency like within Canada. For example, I recently received $100 US check that I really didn't want to convert it to Canadian. So I deposited directly to my US account. And about the accessing your money, there are many ways to access your funds. Like you can use your debit card and make a purchase, for example, or you can access your money through online banking or ATM. You also can send money overseas with RBC through online banking, or also you can do the wire transfer. Now about the credit card. So understanding the credit and how it applies to you is very, very important. We're going to talk more about the credit today. I know that you may have like lots of questions about the credit, because the building a good credit history in Canada is very important, as you probably know, because your credit history is a reflection of your ability to borrow money in Canada. Let's say if you're applying for any type of credit, like a car loan or a mortgage to buy a home, or even a loan to start your own business. So many different people may need to look at your credit history, like including your bank, even a potential landlord. Let's say if you want to rent a place, or even a phone company. Like when you want to make a phone contract, the phone company will pull up your credit history, and your bill payment history will be also recorded on your credit bureau. So that's why it's really important to have a good credit history. And like since you first need to access the credit in order to build a credit history, you might ask yourself that, so how can I get started? Like how can I apply for the credit while I do not have a credit history? So, and that's why at RBC we offer credit cards with no credit history required for newcomers. And this helps you to first, start building your credit history in Canada. And of course, it's safer than carrying a cash. And it's a very convenient way to pay for your purchase, since credit cards are widely accepted at retailers across Canada. And so always remember to pay your credit cards bills and any other bills on time by the due date shown on your statement. So we call it due date, to maintain a good credit history. So we're going to talk more about the credit today later on. Also like a loan, line of credit, or auto financing. So there are also many ways to be financially ready for bigger purchases where you might not necessarily have all the money on your hand immediately. So you can apply, or you can get the personal loan or the line of credit. I'm going to talk more about this later, but also a photo financing, which is for when you buy a car. So you have two options when it comes to the auto financing. So you can either take out a loan, which means that you can borrow up to the amount of a purchase price and then pay it back over a predetermined length of time. Or another option is that you can lease the car. So which means that you pay a monthly amount to a leasing company for a period of time, usually 1 to 5 years. And at the end of your lease agreement, so you can either return the car to your dealer, or you can buy the car at the price outlined in your agreement. And also a mortgage, which is a loan, and which is a way to pay for a home over a period of time. So when it comes to the mortgage, it's a long-term loan, and the bank uses your home as a security. The other one that I want to talk about is insurance, because the insurance helps to protect you in unexpected circumstances, and there are several different kinds. For example, like credit insurance protects you in a case you're incapable of meeting credit obligations on your loan or line of credit or mortgages. So we have like a life insurance, we have disability insurance, and we have also critical illness insurance. But always make sure to consult with your insurance advisor to ensure that you are well informed on the product as well as the terms and conditions. So then you can make an educated decision on the creditor protection that could work best for you or your family. And there are also other types of insurance in addition to the credit insurance. Like, for example, home insurance protects you and your property against financial loss, or car insurance that protects you in an event of an accident, or even travel insurance protects you if you need medical care while traveling. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about some basic information about the investment or investing plans available in Canada. So we have registered plans and non-registered. So the registered plans were designed by the government of Canada, and they provide tax incentive to encourage investing for a special purpose. And non-registered plans are more flexible, and therefore like funds that exceed your contribution limit for registered plans. And the key is to pick the right plan types and then pick the investment to go into those plans. And some of the registered plans that are available in Canada, including TFSA, RESP, and RRSP. So TFSA stands for tax-free saving account, and it's an investment account, and like any money earned on the investment is not taxed. And RESP stands for Registered Education Saving Plan. So this helps you put aside money dedicated to your children's education, and the federal government also top up your annual contribution by 20% up to a maximum of $500 per child for each calendar year to a lifetime maximum of $7,200. And RRSP stands for Registered Retirement Saving Plan, and it helps you to put aside money dedicated for when you're retired. And also GIC, which is a non-registered account, it stands for Guaranteed Investment Certificate. So it's a lower risk investment that offers a guaranteed rate of return over a fixed period of time. All right, so on the next slide, let's talk about more about the credit and about the borrowing options. Sonia, if you can go to the next slide. Perfect. And you can, perfect. So these are the most popular type of credit in Canada, which is credit card. And as I said, we are going to talk more about the credit today, and also personal loan and the line of credit. So I always get a lot, like it's a very common question. So what is the difference between personal loan and line of credit? So personal loan, we also call it installment loan, are best options when you need to borrow money for a specific purpose. For example, you want to buy a vehicle, you want to buy a car, or like home renovation, or you want to buy a property, like mortgage is kind of a personal loan. So they're also used to purchase investment. Let's say if you want to top up or contribute your RSP account, so you can borrow from the bank in terms of personal loan. Or when you want to consolidate several loans into a single one, you can apply for the consolidation loan. So the amount borrowed must be repaid over a specific period or term according to the fixed schedule of monthly payments. And the line of credit is a more flexible option. Like it can be also used for any purpose, like including like the investment. You also can borrow from the line of credit to top up your investment, or it can be for any reason like emergency funds. And you may not need the money now, but it can be for any future needs. For example, if you apply for 10,000 line of credit and it gets approved, so now you have access up to 10,000 to withdraw anytime as you need it. And one of the difference between line of credit and loan is that the line of credit payment options are very flexible. As long as you pay the interest monthly, you do not have any obligation or any commitment to pay the principal based on the fixed schedule like a loan. And it's very easy to access to the funds that you're approved for, and you can easily access to the line of credit to the online banking and transfer the amount that you needed to your, for example, checking account. But always remember that all forms of borrowing comes with a cost. And on the next slide, I would like to also talk about this a little bit, because the borrowing is never free. And to keep your credit score in a good standing, you must also pay back the lender, and whether it's a bank or credit card company or even the car dealership. So again, if you don't know what is the credit score, so we're gonna talk about it today. But always remember that lenders charge interest for the risk of lending their money, and it's typically a percentage of the amount borrowed, which is principal. And this is very important. Always remember that you always need to pay back the money, like pay the principal and plus the interest. And this is the most important rule of the credit. But when it comes to the credit card, and the next slide is a little bit different, because you pay your full balance if you pay your full balance by the due date, you won't pay interest. So here's how RBC credit statements looks like, and it's important to know how to read your credit card statement. But if you're not an RBC client, so other banks' credit statements almost look same. Again, it's important that you know how to read your credit statement, that you're not missing your due dates, and then because if you do that, you need to pay interest. So the best way is to pay your full balance off by the payment due date. But if it's not possible, let's say for any reason you're not able to pay the full balance, it's still okay. So just make sure you need to make sure that you pay the minimum payment. Otherwise, if you do not even pay your minimum payment, it impacts your credit negatively, okay? And that's something that we don't want that happen. And if you ask me what is credit card minimum payment is, I would say that it's the minimum amount of money a credit card company is willing to accept each month to keep your account in a good standing. So let's say if you your full if your credit card statement balance is 1,000, you have to pay the full 1,000 to avoid being charged interest. Otherwise, your next credit card statement will include an interest charge applied to the unpaid amount. And so that's why we always recommend to make sure that you pay the full balance by the due date. But if you cannot do it, it's okay to pay the minimum payment, but you need to pay interest. And the credit card typically have a very high interest rate compared to the most of other type of loan, like a personal loan and line of credit. So it means that it's potentially very expensive to borrow money in a forms of credit card. And so there are also a few ways that you can access to your credit card statement and pay your credit, like e-statement. So you can set up the e-statement. You can access your statement through the online banking, or if you think that you may forget to pay your payments by the due date, so there are a few options. For example, you can set up the auto payment. You can do it through the online banking, or you can ask your advisor to do it, or you can also set up the alerts for the due date. So if you want to know more about these options at the end, just feel free to ask. All right. So, and before we get to Ria to talk about the credit, and I'm gonna on the next slide talk a little bit about the different ways you can bank with. And the next slide, please. So there are different ways that you can access and manage your money. It can be through the online banking, or you can download the mobile app to your mobile device, or using ATM, or you also can call our 1-800 number to reach out our advice call center, or visiting our branch across Canada. So you know that over the past year, since last March, since COVID time, we've tried to minimize our face-to-face interaction to protect our clients, as the safety of our clients and also our staff are very important for us at RBC. So, we have also different channels to connect with you. So you can call for the book a phone appointment or virtual appointment. And at RBC, we recently has been introducing new tools like remote ID verification tools and remote signature tools. As an example, that let's say if you just landed and you need to open an account, we can definitely help you to set up your account, set up your online banking remotely and virtually, and there's no need to visit and branch in person if you wish not to. And so we want to make sure that we protect our clients also during the pandemic. All right, so now I would like to hand it over to Ria to talk more about the banking system as well as how RBC can help. And she's going to share lots of great tips and advice on how to build up a good credit. So thank you, Ria, over to you.
Thank you so much, Naz. So on our next slide, one more. Thank you so much, Sonia. Today, I really wanted to share and talk about how RBC can help you, because we really want to be present throughout your journey in Canada. So we can definitely help you with managing and thriving in your day-to-day life. We can help with building your dream home in Canada, establishing a comfortable lifestyle that reflects your goals and values, and of course, taking care of your family, and lastly, planning for the future. So I'll cover each one in details on how we can help with those. So on our next slide, we do offer a wide range of digital banking solutions that can help you check in on your money whenever you need to. You can easily pay your bills and transfer money, whether you're on the go or you want to do it from your mobile phone, or you're at home or at work and prefer to do it online. You can definitely transfer your funds, pay your bills. You can even order checks all online. I especially enjoy this convenience. When my kids were in daycare, I loved being able to transfer and pay my daycare owner the funds right away on the first of the month. Even many of my clients, they pay their rent this way via the e-transfer. So this is just a great option that we provide. RBC has built an award-winning online banking solution that makes managing your money side of your day-to-day life very simple and convenient. So really and truly, there's no need to walk into a physical branch in order to take care of your money basics. And on to our next slide. RBC really wants to be there with you for every step of the way. We do offer a wide range of support. You can start your home buying journey online. Online, you can use our mortgage calculators to find out your budget for a home and determine how much your monthly mortgage payment might be on that home that you're looking to buy. Or if you're further along the home search, you can always apply for a pre-approval. Pre-approval gives you the confidence to shop of knowing for a home, knowing that you can afford to buy it. But please keep in mind, a pre-approval is still conditional on verification, but it locks in the rate for 120 days, giving you the time to shop around while holding on to that rate in case interest rates begin to rise. And when you're ready to connect with someone, or simply just need the advice and guidance on the whole home buying process, because it can be a bit tedious and overwhelming at some point, you can easily find a mortgage specialist online. We have a mortgage specialist locator on our website. They are very convenient. They are mobile. They can meet you wherever and whenever you need, and whether it's in your home or your place of work, at a coffee shop, or anywhere else you would prefer. And so that's for your home buying process. But we want to be there for your living and fulfilling your lifestyle. So part of living and fulfilling your lifestyle is being able to get around. And Sonia, just on to the next slide. You'll be able to get around and enrich your life and feel confident in your finances. If you're looking to buy a car, you can start by calculating the car loan payments online and determine how much you're comfortable spending on a car. You can even compare the cost of buying versus leasing, or whichever is the best option for you. If you're ready to buy that car, you can ask for RBC financing right at your dealership. Many dealerships offers the car loan financing through RBC. All you have to do is ask. And when you do, you'll be able to track your loan balance and your payments through your online banking. All you need to do is just sign the paperwork at the dealership, and you don't even have to visit the branch because it's all done at the dealership. And if you're looking for a way to access your money for home repairs or a trip or emergency, you can easily get in touch with one of our credit specialists by calling our call center or connecting with Naz and I. And we can walk you through your options to help you find the solutions that really best suits your needs. If you want to speak to someone in your first language, we do offer telephone services in over 200 languages. And now moving on to family lifestyle, we know how family is important to our clients as it is to Naz and I as well. Whether it's your children or your parents or relatives living overseas, RBC offers many digital solutions, making it easy for you to take care of your family wherever they may be. For example, you can contribute to the Registered Education Savings Plan that Naz discussed. It's called the RESP. Through your online banking, you can set up a RESP-matic, which means that you're setting up like an automatic one to do it. So it's called RESP-matic, which withdraws a set amount of money from your account on a regular basis, contributing it to your child's future education. This makes it easy for you to save for post-secondary education here in Canada, because you can contribute as little as $25 a month. And we also offer international money transfer tool. It lets you send money to over 200 countries around the world, and it's all done through your online banking. So you can send money anytime, day or night. I always talk about this option when I do my account opening for my newcomers, because we sometimes have loose ends that we need to tie up and we need to send money back home. So you have this option to do the international money transfer from your online banking to your account back home. If you add your email address or your mobile phone number to your online banking, you can send money by accessing by the recipient within 2 to 5 business days. So maybe you have a sister across the country or a child in university right now. You can send that Interact e-transfer that I was referring to, that I used to pay my daycare with, to anyone within Canada that has a bank account and an email address. So the Interact e-transfer is another great tool, which is free for all our RBC clients who have personal checking accounts. It's faster and easier than actually, sending a check or giving a check. It's a bit tedious. You have to wait for that check to clear. But with the Interact e-transfer, it's instant and it's more secure than cash. And you pretty much do it online or through your smartphone. The person you're sending the money will receive an email or a text notifying them that you've sent the money, and then they can deposit the funds immediately. It's a great solution, like I said, to pay your landlord, your babysitter, or your coworker, or your friend. If you went out to lunch with them, you can definitely pay them back with that. And planning for your future, on our next slide. When you're thinking about your future, it's easy to find an expert who can work with you to build a plan for the years to come. So we do have RBC financial planners that will meet with you wherever and whenever that's more convenient for you. And you can easily find one through our online financial planner locator tool. You can browse through planners in your area. You can definitely read their profile and review their credentials and their experience too. So your financial planner will work with you to balance your goals of today with your vision for tomorrow. And we create, security for yourself and your family to help you reach those goals and your most important objectives too. If investing and saving is one of your goals, you can contribute to that TFSA and that GIC that Naz is talking about as soon as you arrive in Canada to grow your savings. And once you're working and you're all set up and you're earning that income, setting up a RRSP is a great way to save for retirement. Plus, you can set up your accounts to make that automatic contributions to the RRSP, to the RESP, and even for the TFSA as well. But if you're a do-it-yourself type of person and you're interested in managing your own investments, we offer RBC Direct Investing, and it's an award-winning online investing site. It allows you to buy and sell your own investments, set up a wide range of accounts. You can connect with other investors. You can get access to research, insights, and experts at any time. You can even set up a practice account. We have a demo account on your online banking where you can play around with it. You can do some investments and, just play around so you can get more familiar with that. And so that's pretty much how RBC, how we want to help and how we want to be there for you. But I wanted to cover an important topic more so around credit that, it's pretty new for many of our newcomers. And, especially if you don't have credit in your respective country, having credit or the word credit even is pretty new when you arrive. So on our next slide, I wanted to actually talk about credit history and credit score. So, sorry, one more, Sonia. Thank you. So your credit history is your financial reputation. It's a picture of how well you manage your money, whether you've paid your bills on time, what your outstanding debt is, and whether you've actually missed any payments. So this shows up on your credit history. So over time, this data forms a pattern of how well you pay or don't pay your debt. Anytime you apply for a loan or a credit card, lenders will look at your history to help them decide whether or not they should accept your application. Actually, landlords may even look at this as well to see the type of person you are, because they're concerned if you're going to pay your rent on time. And then there's your credit score. So in simple words, your credit score is a number assigned to you that shows your ability to borrow money and repaying it too. So obviously, just like the grading scale here, the higher the score, the better. In Canada, credit scores range from 300, which means either you're just now getting started. Typically, I do see this for many of our newcomers where they're just now getting started and it starts at the 300, or you haven't been responsible and it goes all the way up to 900. So according to TransUnion, which is a reputable credit agency, 650 is the average score for most Canadians. So if you think about it, credit score is your financial report card. So A being the best for those of us that are competitive, A being the best and F being not so good. To calculate an individual score, a specific set of rules are applied to an algorithm which draws some assumptions about the individual's spending habits and then assigns a number to it, which essentially is the score. Lenders use this score to set your interest rate, to set your credit limit. If you have a high credit score, you may be able to get a lower interest rate on loans, which can save you money over time. A good credit score also helps you qualify for those loans easier. This means a big savings to you because you can pay by paying a lower interest rate and having a greater repayment flexibility than someone who has a low credit score with a poor credit history. I know some of you are probably thinking, especially the ones that are joining pre-arrivals, you're probably thinking, well, I'm new to Canada. I'm not in Canada yet. I don't have any credit history. Well, we do have that covered. We've thought of all of that and we understand your situation, but we do have special programs in place where your first credit card in Canada is given to you without any credit history to help you start building your credit journey here in Canada. So on the next slide, I wanted to touch on the two national credit bureaus in Canada. I mentioned TransUnion, but the other is Equifax. So there's Equifax and TransUnion, and a big note to caution, you do see where there's Credit Karma and other places that offer credit monitoring, but you want to make sure the information is actually pulled from Equifax or TransUnion. So you want to be mindful of that. Credit reports are free every 12 months, and you should request a credit report at least once a year to make sure the information is true and accurate. Because like I mentioned, creditors and sometimes employers and landlords, they can request this report and they want to you really want to make sure it represents who you really are. And you can also request a credit score from TransUnion and Equifax, but there might be a charge for it, which is why I'm so excited to tell you that we offer the credit score and the credit history monitoring on the RBC online banking. So on our next slide, I'll cover that quickly. So all you need to do is just log into your online banking, and under the bottom right, it has account management. You'll find a link that says view your credit score, and it shows you your actual TransUnion credit score and where you stand. And you can just click on the credit report. You see a summary of all your accounts, which is great because I remember when I paid off my car loan, it showed, paid off on there, and I did see a jump on my credit score, which is great. So these are the things that you have full access to on our online banking. And it's free and it's a secured access. So you really want to make sure, that you monitor it. I've set a reminder for myself to check it every 6 months or so to make sure that it represents who I am, that I don't have any new credit that's been applied for in my name that I'm not aware of. So I'm always paying particular attention to that. And then you can, when you scroll down a little bit, you can see something called a score simulator. That lets you play around by adding a credit card or adding a loan or even increasing those. And you get a sneak peek of how will it affect your score. So I actually did this when I paid off my car loan just to see how it will impact my score. And I do believe it jumped by 20 points. So it's great. It's a great tool to play around with, but just to reiterate that we do offer this on our online banking for free. But as you can see, there's a lot that goes into creating your score, but there's a lot that you can do to keep it in good standing. So I wanted to cover that on my next slide. So in this great pie chart here, as you can see, the biggest chunks are the payment history and the credit utilization. So your payment history, obviously by paying all your bills on time, if you pay your bills late, or having your account sent to a collection agency does impact your score negatively. And credit utilization, sometimes called balance to limit ratio, and in other words, do not max out your credit. Try to keep a month-to-month balance of less than 50% of your credit limit, as it does affect your score. For example, and what I mean is that if your credit limit is 1,000, try to keep a month-to-month balance of less than 500 if you can. So some other factors that, makes up your credit score that I wanted to cover that, the other pieces of my pie here is the new credit application. So how frequently you apply for new credit does affect your credit score. Only apply for credit that you actually need. So too many inquiries in a short period of time can sometimes be flagged as a sign of financial difficulties. It can be seen as, as someone is overextending or taking on more debt than they can actually pay. And then there's credit variety. So how balanced is your credit mix? Is it a healthy credit profile that has a mix of credit accounts and loans? Is it just one of the other and just, not a particular mix of that? Then there's the account history. So having a longer account history on your credit accounts earns you more points. So avoid closing those accounts if you may need them in the future. And just bear in mind that a good credit history is built over time. So it's really important that you start building it early. Having too many accounts, having access to too much credit, like having multiple credit cards or loans, can be a sign of financial distress. It can also make it very difficult for you to borrow money in the future. And it's also very difficult to manage too, especially if you have those credit cards at the different department stores. It's kind of hard to remember all those due dates. So you want to be mindful of that. Even if you aren't using the credit card, an RBC will actually look at the credit that you have access to when evaluating your financial health that way. So that is actually, what makes up your credit score. However, on our next slide, we all have goals that we're trying to achieve, and we're all trying to live our best lives here in Canada, holding true to our values. And, RBC, we are committed to helping each other and everyone to do just that by providing a safe place to deposit your money. We've put in place, many policies, many procedures that will protect you and your money from fraud. So I really hope that you've seen, how our mobile systems work, and, just know that RBC is here for you every step of the way to meet your financial goals, and even those complex ones as well. So now that we're at the end of our presentation, we actually are looking forward to your questions. So feel free to enter those in the chat box, and we'll share our contact information as well at the end.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ria, for sharing those great tips and advice, especially about the credit. I know how important is that. And thanks for showing us how we can check the credit through the RBC online banking, right? This is also very important things because, checking your credit history and credit score can help you better understand your current credit position, also help you to be more, aware of what lenders may see, and also can help you to detect any inaccurate or incomplete information, which is really also important. So thank you so much, Ria. So we have time for the Q&A. So let's just get the first question. I was reviewing the questions, so many great questions in the Q&A and also in the chat box. So let's just start with Mirza. So when you start to hiring, I am since a long time joining each meeting and event. So thank you so much, Mirza, for joining our meeting. So RBC always hires. So so if you would like to know more about the RBC hiring procedure, or so you can definitely contact myself or Ria. We would love to spend some time individually with you to talk about it, or if you need any help in order to update your resume, or we can just discuss this through. But RBC always hiring. All right. So let's see the next question. So Krishna asking a very great question regarding mortgage. So I heard about the mortgage. So what is the approximate interest rate of the mortgage? So Krishna, this is a very great question about the mortgage. The rate or varies, depends on the type of the rate. We have a variable rates, we have fixed rate, we have different type of fixed rate from 1 year to 5 years. But currently, just for example, our variable rates is 1.5% for 5 years variable. Please be advised, this is just today, as of today, then of course subject to change anytime. But our rates are really low, and this is a really great time to, if you're willing to buy a property. So I would recommend you to connect one of our mortgage specialists to lock the rate as well. So you also have the option to lock the rate in terms, if the rate goes up in the future, you can lock the rate for 4 months. So as I said, it's as low as a 5 years variable, 1.5 as of today's, or our 5 years also fixed variable, it's let me just make sure, it's 2.39 again as of today, and subject to change. So I hope that I answered your question, but again, feel free to contact us and we can connect you to one of our mortgage specialists. All right, so there's another question actually from Krishna. So also, which one is cheaper, loan or line of credit for auto financing? This is another great question, Krishna. If you, for the purpose of buying a vehicle, so the loan is always a cheaper option, because the line of credit, because the loan will take your car as a collateral, so it's secured, and has a lower rate and compared to the line of credit. But about the options for auto financing, borrowing money from dealership or leasing, if you're asking which option would be the best, I would suggest you to talk to the dealership directly. But about the line of credit and loan, the line of credit has a higher rate. All right.
Just to add on that, Naz, at the dealership, they do have special promotions too for a certain amount of time with 0% interest on financing. So you really want to, see what the options are first, and check all your options and then make an executive decision for sure.
Exactly. Thank you, Ria. And also it depends on if you're buying a used car or brand new car. I think that's also affect the rate, but it's also better to just talk to the dealership.
For sure.
Perfect. Thanks, Ria. So we have a very great question about the credit card. Can credit cards be converted from cashback to rewards? This is a very great question. We get this question a lot. So yes, you can convert your cashback credit card to the rewards card, but you have 90 days to redeem your cash. Otherwise, you're going to lose your cash. So you definitely can convert it, and your balance, your limit, your account will be converted to new cards, but you have 90 days. Like 90 days is at RBC, but just ask your respective bank to see if it's possible to do that. But at RBC, you definitely can do it, but you have 90 days to claim or redeem your cash. All right. So let's see, what is the next question? There's so many questions coming up.
Yes, there's one here. Can we have a debit card or a debit card only instead of a credit card? So just to differentiate with those two, so the debit card is for purchases, you know, and it does take the money directly from your checking account. But then the credit card, you know, you do have that flexibility where you have that certain time frame to pay it off during your grace period. So, I mean, it is a personal choice, but the credit card is the only way that you establish a credit history here, because that way we see your repayment history, and that's how it determines your score and etc. Everything that I covered earlier. But I mean, there is the debit card, there is the credit card, but the option is yours, you know, because again, it's your option how you want to manage your finances. But yes, you can have one or the other. You can have both.
Exactly. Thank you, Ria. And I also added to it. So some of the debit cards, if you look at your debit card, it has an expiry date and it has a like a Visa or Master logo on the card, or it has a CVV number, like a 3-digit number on the back of your card. This means that your debit card is also like a Visa debit card. So you can use your debit card for online purchase. But let's say at RBC, our debit card for some security reason is not a Visa debit card. So you cannot use your debit card for online purchase, for example. But we do have a separate card. We call it virtual Visa debit card that helps you to use your checking account for online purchase for any reason if you want to do that. But as Ria said, definitely you can have a debit card only, but it doesn't help you to build up your credit. All right. Thank you, Ria. Thank you for the great question as well. I saw another great question there. So, so if we get advice from mortgage specialists, is it free? Definitely. So all advice at RBC are definitely free. We don't charge for the advice. And if you would like to talk to any mortgage specialist, please feel free to contact myself or Ria, and we connect you to the right person. And the option is asking that I want to open a bank account. So are your branches open? Which cards do you recommend? And what type of account is better for me? Thank you so much, Afshin, for your interest. So please contact me or Ria. So our branch are open, but Ria and myself, we both work from home. And as I said earlier, so we do have the tools that you really do not need to be in person in order to open your account. So we can leverage our tools. We do have a remote ID verification. We can set up your account, set up your online banking, and we definitely spend some time to talk about you, to see what is the best solution for you, like what type of account works for you the best. So Sonia, if you go to the next slide, so here's our information. So you can reach out to us through the email, or you can scan the QR code and all of the information will pop. There you go. Thank you, Afshin. Ria, there is also a question in the chat. This is also a very great question. So is the amortization period be flexible? So can it be 10 years or 30 years as per the account holder's preference? Yes, the amortization can be flexible. It can be up to 30 years. It can be also 10 years, but it cannot be more than 30 years. But if you are paying less than 20% down payment, we call it like a high ratio mortgage. A high ratio mortgage lets you to borrow up to 95% of the purchase, but you will have to buy mortgage insurance. So if your mortgage is high ratio mortgage, means that your down payment is less than 20%, then you're not eligible for 30 years amortization, and you have to go for 25 years. But otherwise, is absolutely flexible, and you can go up to 30 years. Perfect.
Here's a really good question, Naz. What does my credit score show if I've never taken a loan or borrow with a credit card? So in that case, you don't actually have an account, a credit history. So nothing will show. It will just say no credit history. There's no facilities you have. There's no accounts that you have. So it'll just say that because it is registered by, I believe it's registered by your SIN number, Naz. You can correct me if I'm wrong, which is why we do, when we do the application, we ask for your SIN number because it is populated with your SIN number and it's tied to you that way because many names are very alike. So your SIN number is your unique identification in Canada. So that identifies the person that has a similar name to yours. So that's why it is tied to your SIN number. So if you haven't taken anything, it's just going to show that you don't have anything, but which is fine too.
Exactly, Ria. Yes, but in order to build up your credit, you need to apply for a credit products, like it can be a credit card, and also your phone bills also reported to your credit bureau. So phone bills is the only bills that are recorded to the credit bureau. So that's why it's important that you treat your not just because of that, like your all of your bills you need to pay on time, but your phone bills also is very important to pay it on time because by having a contract with a phone like a phone service provider, you are going to make the credit history as well. But exactly what Ria said is correct. So try to get your credit to start early to build up the good credit history. All right, so does credit history in US count in Canada? So if you have a outside the country credit history, it doesn't count in Canada and you need to start from scratch. So we don't port like credit history outside Canada. So yeah, that's my short answer to this question. And does RBC have MasterCard or just Visa? Yes, we both have a MasterCard and Visa. We have different types of MasterCard and Visa. Again, if you would like to know more about it, feel free to contact us. Afshin also asking how I can contact you. So we already, yes, so on the screen, you can see our contact information. Also, I saw a couple of questions about how our newcomer services or how we help our newcomers. So there are so many promotions, like we have offer in terms of accounts, credit cards. So like if you would like to know more about it, let us know that we can spend some time. And about like newcomer services. So as we said, RBC cares so deeply about newcomers, and that's why we are here today. And being here today is one of our services to our newcomers. We deliver so many different topics, webinars. So Sonia will talk about our next one. And so again, if you would like to know more about our products, so please contact myself or Ria. All right, so yeah, let's see if there's we can maybe take a few questions. Okay, Sonia, yeah, so maybe we can start wrapping up. So there are some questions left, but please contact us that we can spend some time, one-on-one, and we can book a call, like a virtual call or a phone call with you to answer your questions. Thank you, Sonia. So over to you.
Thank you so much, ladies. So yes, I have the information up here if you didn't get a chance. If you do have questions, don't worry. We're still here to answer them. You have these ladies' contact information, so feel free to reach out to them. Our next webinar coming up is how to ace a job interview, and that will be on August 24th. And our next RBC webinar is on August 31st, Newcomer's Guide to Finding Accommodation in Canada. If you'd like to register for any of our events, just go to our website and you'll be able to see them there, accessemployment.ca/online event series. And for people who are, they have their PRs and they're moving to Canada within the next few months, you may be eligible for our pre-arrival program, and I'll tell you more about that in the next slide. And if you'd like to register for any of our programs or services, go to our website and see, you can click on looking for a job, and you can see all of our programs there. And if you'd like to attend our Talk English Cafe, just sign up for one of the one of the many sessions or a few of them, there's actually a bit of a community of people who practice speaking their English conversation skills over there. And for pre-arrival, you can email cec@accessemployment.ca to see if you'd be eligible for any of these sectors for the program. And we are very active on our social media, so please stay in touch and see what's going on here at ACCES. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So thank you so much for joining, and please be reminded that you will receive a recording for this webinar sometime tomorrow, or you can use the link that you joined with today. In a few hours, it will turn into a recording, and all of our webinars are always posted on our YouTube channel. We do have a special section for RBC videos as well. So thank you all for joining, and have a great week ahead.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.